Give me your top three offensive rookie of the year rankings right now.
It really sucks he's not going to be able to finish out the season because he would be my number one right now if he was going to be able to.
The NFL hot seat. Of course, coaches are always on the hot seat, but we're going to play a game. You're the GM. This is your coach. Are they canned after this season, or are you giving them one more year?
That was probably the worst hire this offseason in any position, any coaching or GM job. It made no sense. He's not a good coach.
Hey everyone, welcome to the WNP podcast. I am your host, Mike Mitchelson, and joining me today, as always, my co-host, Chase Crawshaw. Chase, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty swell, actually. Can't complain, really. Big win for the Detroit Lions this past weekend. Good to see. I don't want to say it's a new coach, but at the same time it is. Bevel just kind of taking over the reins, just getting that promotion. But the Lions, they looked good in a good comeback win against the Bears, so I'm happy. How are you?
I am doing pretty well, and before we hop into our full football conversation, just wanted to quickly let everyone know that if you are a hockey fan, we had the chance to interview Mike Doc Emmerich, legendary play-by-play guy. He is in the United States Hockey Hall of Fame. He's got 8 Emmy Awards. He's really done it all. We got to interview him on our other show, Bolts Broadcast. So if you guys want to check that out, make sure to do so. I will be retweeting stuff on the WNP Twitter so that you guys can go check that out. But yeah, Chase, I'm doing all right today. Final stuff is really starting to stress me out as coming into these next 3 days or so, it is just nonstop work. So this podcast might even get released a little bit late. So apologize for that if that is the case. If not, then you can just give credit to me, as I probably just worked my ass off and I'm the best to ever do it.
Sure, there you go.
So we got a great show in store for all of you guys. We're going to be talking about the Jets and the Jags and how they almost threw away their top 2 picks. We're also going to be talking about the Giants and the football team, as for the first time ever, a team, and even in this case, 2 teams in the NFC East look like they're actually capable of doing anything in the league this year. Then we want to talk about Carson Wentz. He's struggled mightily. We want to talk about if he's done, if he should be cut, if he should be traded, what should happen with him. We're going to be talking about Rookie of the Year, talking about some coaches on the hot seat, and then finally get into our predictions. But, Chase, we'll start off with the Jets and the Jags convo, as the Jets were going against the Raiders, and the Jags were going against the Vikings. The Jags and Vikings went to overtime. The Jets were up by 4 over the Raiders, but a absolutely embarrassing mistake led to a Raiders victory. But this could have been really bad for both teams if they won.
So it really could have been. Going on with the Jets, they obviously, they were playing a solid defensive game. Offensively, they're getting it done too. The Raiders didn't have a ton of answers. The only person that was really firing was Darren Waller, who just went nuts this week. I don't know how else to put it. But after the game, Jets fired their defense coordinator, Greg Williams. If it wasn't for him being so bad at his job, then you guys wouldn't have been in this opportunity. We would have ended up winning that game there. You wouldn't really have as good a chance at that first pick anymore. So why fire the guy? And unless you're bringing someone who's just literally incompetent, it doesn't make sense to me. You're here for one goal at this point, and it's to get Trevor Lawrence. You can't do anything to jeopardize that. So I don't know. I just find that weird. But regardless, if the Jets would have won and then the Jags would have won too, I probably would have just slammed my head on a wall, because I'd rather see Trevor Lawrence go to the Jags than the Jets. Personally, I don't know how people feel about that. So if the Jags would have had that opportunity and then just blown it themselves too, oh boy.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting back to your Greg Williams point, I don't get why they fired Greg Williams but not Adam Gase, like it just didn't really make sense to me. Either you clean out the staff or you just leave them till the end of the season. That's my thought on it. Like Adam Gase is probably the worst head coach right now, I would assume.
Yeah.
But yeah, why get rid of the DC but not the head coach? I don't really know. It doesn't make sense. But me personally, I'd rather Trevor Lawrence on the Jets because the Jaguars, they've had too many chances. Sorry.
See, but like, even though I like Denzel Mims, he's really about it for the guys I like on that Jags roster offensively, or the Jets roster. And I still like Sam Darnold, but I feel like I really hope his career wasn't ruined by Adam Gase on the Jets. It very well could have been. Like he just does not look anything like he looks worse than he did in college, which is not good. So I'd really rather see Trevor Lawrence go to a team with better weapons. The DJ Charks, LaVisca Chenaults, those two great young receivers. Even Colin Johnson, when he's had the opportunity, he's looked pretty good. Obviously, James Robinson came out of nowhere. Is that someone he's going to keep up his whole career? Who knows? Let's hope it's not like a Jordan Howard type situation where it's just great rookie year and then all downhill from there. But like I don't know, just offensively, I feel like the Jags are in a better position, better offensive line compared to the Jets, where it's just like it's still just so blah. I don't know. I feel like Lawrence would succeed more in Jacksonville.
I think so too, but I think that's why Lawrence needs to go to the Jets because I feel like if there's a quarterback out there that can succeed with nothing, it's going to be Lawrence. And I think Justin Fields would be absolutely brilliant if he went to the Jags as well. But I want to quickly mention Sam Darnold and talk about him a little bit. Obviously, I was very high on him. I think you were as well. A little bit worried that maybe Adam Gase ruined him. I've got that worry as well. I think he can still be a solid quarterback, a good quarterback, but at one point I thought he could be a top 8 quarterback in the league, and could he be? Maybe, but I honestly doubt that now, which is sad because I really like Sam Darnold.
Yeah, that's out of the realm of possibility, unfortunately. Because when you're in a situation like this for the last few years, you learn bad habits, and he's still a young player. Like he's not going to be very much. He's only going to be a year or two older than Trevor Lawrence, and when he's been in the league for 3 years already. So you learn a lot of bad habits because you're kind of forced to. You're forced to have to force balls downfield or try to work around these horrible broken pockets or with these horrible receivers, these horrible tight ends, these horrible running backs. And when you have to try to adjust for that, and you don't just have this pure, unreal, God-given, top 2-3 quarterback in the league type of talent, you're going to fail and you're going to regress so hard because you're just going to feel like everything you're doing is wrong, and you're going to try to do new things, and those new things clearly aren't going to work because they haven't worked for you in the past. So it just creates for the ultimate failure, and Sam Darnold is pretty much set up perfectly for that.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. I don't think he'll be a Josh Rosen case. I think he'll get another shot elsewhere, and I think he could be like a Kirk Cousins type player where he's a solid starting quarterback, but he's never gonna be a great quarterback. But that would be my projection with him going forward. We'll have to wait and see. But Chase, let's talk about two teams from the NFC East as they just pull off the unimaginable. The Giants, with their backup quarterback, beat the Seahawks in Seattle, and then the Washington football team with Alex Smith, who we already know about his extreme comeback and the issues he's had with his right leg. Well, his left leg gets punctured, and that was super bloody and gruesome, but he was able to lead the football team to a victory over the undefeated Steelers in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, it was insane. I'm so happy for Alex Smith. It's a guy I didn't think if he got in, he was going to be able to do very much. It's a gruesome injury, an older player, a long time away. It's kind of hard to just step back in, but I mean, he was above 67% throwing, if I'm not mistaken. He had a touchdown, had just under 300 yards. He looked very good, and the defense for the Washington football team, like we know that this defense is young and has a lot of talent, but like, oh boy, they're really stepping up. If this offense can get molded into, like an actual truly like weekly competent offense, this is an actually like good, scary roster. And then in terms of the Giants, I don't know what the hell happened in that game. They don't have like a stellar defense. They're playing the Seahawks with Russell Wilson, freaking Chris Carson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. I don't get how you only put up 12 points on the Giants. Colt McCoy went 13 for 22, 105 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and that was good enough to win them the game. Like, what?
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, but Russell Wilson got absolutely shut down. Only 263 through the air, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The Giants' defense looked unlike themselves. They looked really good against the Seahawks. And going back to the football team, I mean, we talked about how their defense looked good and how their defensive line was insane and scary, and they absolutely shut down the Steelers' run game. There was no run game whatsoever for the Steelers, which honestly, not very surprised, as I think you and I both think James Conner isn't a top 20 running back, and all their backups as well, nothing special. So wasn't really surprised about that. Also, as surprised as I am with the football team taking the victory over the Steelers, at the same time, I'm not that surprised just because of the Steelers' schedule. Like, their 11 wins came from teams like the Bengals, came from the Ravens when they had Trace McSorley in, came from, why am I forgetting stuff? Dallas without Dak Prescott. Like, their wins have been really bad. So, as surprised as I am, I'm not very. But awesome to see the NFC East actually doing something. The football team and the Giants, they are currently tied in first place. So we'll have to see how they continue after this week's performance, see if they can push for a playoff spot. All right, Chase, let's move on. But even though we're moving on, we're staying in the same division, as we're going to be talking about Carson Wentz. Now, we all know about Carson Wentz. He had, 3 or 4 phenomenal seasons. One season that a lot of people thought could have ended with an MVP trophy. However, his injury sidelined that hope and dream. And this year, he's come out very flat. It doesn't really make sense to me, because how do you go from 3 or 4 really good to amazing seasons to come out and look like one of the bottom 4 quarterbacks in the league, starting quarterbacks in the league, I should say? It doesn't really make sense. Is there a lingering issue within the team? Is there a lingering injury? What do you think of this, Chase?
So I'll start with this. I saw something where apparently when the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round, Carson Wentz lost his confidence there. He wasn't happy, and instead of lighting a fire under his ass, it made him question his job and question his ability, and he hasn't been able to find it since then. I saw the report a couple days ago where if you're an elite quarterback and you deserve that limelight, that pressure, you should be someone who's driven by that. Look at Aaron Rodgers having a hell of a season with the draft pick of Jordan Love, which made no sense in the first place. But regardless, Aaron Rodgers has been playing well, so maybe it's working out for them. Carson Wentz, he has looked god awful, atrocious. He is not good anymore. It's weird because you don't see drop offs like this. It was so large, so steep. It just came really out of nowhere. I don't know if he can figure it out though. I think he is so deep down in this hole. He's going to be on the Eagles. They're not going to be able to release him. It's too big of a cap hit. They're not going to be able to trade him because he looks so bad. Jalen Hurts is for sure going to start this upcoming week. There's just no chance that he doesn't. He's looked significantly better than Carson Wentz in every single way. So you have to go with Jalen Hurts at this point. Even if Jalen Hurts is nothing special, which I think he's nothing special as an NFL quarterback, he still has looked better than Carson. So the Eagles and Carson Wentz, they are in an absolutely brutal spot.
Yeah, they really are. And in June of 2019, Carson Wentz signed a 4-year extension, nearly $110 million guarantee. That was the 4th most in the NFL. If he's not on the roster next year, That's going to cost $59.2 million on the Eagles' salary cap. If not on the roster in 2022, that's $24.5 million on the Eagles' salary cap, which is detrimental. It really is. However, I am going to take the opposite stance as you. I think Carson Wentz can figure it out. However, I don't think it's going to be with the Eagles. I think that the Eagles are able to find a way to move him, or after one more season, they're going to be like, all right, we really can't do it. We're going to cut him, and he's going to get a chance elsewhere. I think he is such a high talent, such a good talent, that he's going to be able to figure it out. And maybe this goes along with Sam Darnold, and I love both of these quarterbacks, and I hope they have success elsewhere. But Carson Wentz has done it in this league 3 to 4 seasons where he was immaculate. He carried me to a fantasy football championship. So I have a really hard time believing that he's not going to be able to figure it out eventually.
Yeah, I mean, like it's possible because, as you said, he has done it. So you know what, that ability is there. It just it does not look good, and it's not going to happen with the Eagles. There's zero chance it happens with the Eagles. But at the same time, he's going to be on the Eagles, I'd say, for at least next season, probably even the season after that, just because of the cap that it's going to take. So that just might be too long of him not playing and not having the trust, and where it just detrimental to his ability. I don't know. Who knows, really? The NFL nowadays, it's a little bit of a different game where, if this was somebody in the past, they probably wouldn't get another chance. Honestly, they'd be like, oh, they're just down the hill. They're done and over with. But I'm sure somebody will try to give him that chance, to the best of their ability. Maybe he can figure it out, but it's not looking good.
And that's the crazy thing, too. He's I think, 27, maybe 28. This isn't the age where quarterbacks start their downfall. Quarterbacks from 28 to, I think, 32 is when they really have that big uptick where they have the best seasons of their careers. So it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm really hoping we can see a bounce back, but we're really just going to have to wait and see. We're not able to tell. This is a unpredictable game and unpredictable situation. So let us know what you guys think, though. If you're listening right now, go ahead, put down in the comments. If you are on YouTube, if you're not, go ahead, tweet at us at WNP Sports Pod. Let us know your thoughts on Carson Wentz. Is there a possibility of Carson Wentz rebounding after this just historically bad career for him, or is he done? Is it going to be another season next year where he struggles and then he's out of the NFL? What are your thoughts? Chase, let's now move on to talking about the Rookie of the Year, as we talked a little bit about Fantasy Rookie of the Year in our group chat, but I want to take a look at the overall Rookie of the Year position, and specifically offense. Defense, there's a couple guys, but offense I really want to keep an eye on, because there has been a lot of phenomenal performances this year. You had Justin Herbert looking like an absolute superstar. Joe Burrow looked awesome before he got injured. James Robinson, Antonio Gibson, and even Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They lead the running back category for rookies. Wide receivers, you've had a couple. One especially, Justin Jefferson, absolute standout. Already over 1,000 yards receiving. Give me your top 3 offensive Rookie of the Year rankings right now.
Top 3, I would have to go number 1, Justin Herbert. It's kind of hard to choose against Justin Herbert in this. It's really it's a quarterback type of award. It makes a lot of sense. Quarterbacks are the one that are driving the team. If a rookie can come in and do well, it's hard to discount that. So Justin Herbert, he's really shown that he's got this ability that you and I both knew and believed that he had, and he just wasn't really allowed to really flourish in the offense that he was playing in college. But here he is in the NFL. He's allowed to sling it more, do a little more, and he's looked pretty damn good. It's hard to go against him at number 1. Number 2, right now, by end of season, it's probably going to change, but I still got to go with Joe Burrow. He was just he was looking just way too dominant, way too mature while he was able to play. It really sucks he's not going to be able to finish out the season, because he would be my number 1 right now if he was going to be able to. I'm only putting him in here because he really just deserves to still be in this conversation at this point. he was on pace to set all sorts of records. He looked like the next true great NFL type quarterback. It could be one of the better ones in the league going forward for a very long time. Really sucks the season ended the way it did. And number 3, it's Justin Jefferson. He's been maybe a top 3 to 5 receiver in the whole league, just in general this year. He didn't play those first 2 games, and he's just come on and just really destroyed the league. In terms of fantasy, he is the wide receiver 4, if I'm not mistaken. That's without really doing much those first 2 games. He's just been so utterly dominant. People were so afraid, oh, he's not going to be able to do anything out of the slot in college. He's not going to be able to do anything without Joe Burrow throwing to him. Well, he's just completely disproven that. He has the perfect prototypical size to play on the outside, and he's just been dominating there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking about throwing Joe Burrow in mine, but because you had him in yours, I'm going to stay off of that topic. I think if he didn't get injured, I'd be rooting for him, number 1, just because of how big of an impact he makes on the Cincinnati Bengals team. If you look at the Bengals right now, without Joe Burrow, I think their average yards per play is at 3.0, which is terrible. That's not even a first down, So if Joe Burrow was still here, I'd probably give it to him. But because he's not, I have to give Justin Herbert my number 1 nod for obvious reasons. Chase mentioned a lot of them. And it's funny, Chase, because we were saying all offseason that we're not sure if Justin Herbert would be the best quarterback out of this draft class. We know he's got the potential to be, but he's definitely our favorite quarterback in this draft class just because of the pure, attributes he brings, the arm strength, the athleticism, the size, and he's put it together really quickly, a lot quicker than I thought, and it's really awesome to see. My number 2, Justin Jefferson. I mean, guy's been immaculate. I don't think there's really much more to be said about that. And then my number 3 is going to be James Robinson, the undrafted rookie who has been probably the most consistent piece on that Jaguars offense. He's number 4 in terms of fantasy rankings for running backs. He's been an absolute star, a diamond in the rough that I don't think anyone really saw coming. So I got to put him there. I know there's some conversation with Antonio Gibson as well, and some other players, but I'm going to go James Robinson here with my number 3 pick.
So I like the James Robinson pick. He's my number 4. If I was to do a top 5, James Robinson would be 4, Gibson 5. It's completely reasonable to put him in there. For an undrafted FCS rookie running back to come do what he's doing, it's just utterly phenomenal. It's something that we've never seen before in the league. Literally, the last undrafted rookie to start at running back week 1 was in 1950. So that just shows how rare and unlikely it is to happen. He really, it's clear he has the talent. He has vision. He's a good receiver out of the backfield too. He's not like Christian McCaffrey type, but he's better than the average running back. He is really a guy that's a true workhorse. I saw a stat. I don't even remember who got the carry, but I saw this week a running back, not James Robinson, got a carry in a game for the first time since week 9. So literally he had 3-4 weeks straight of him getting every single touch out of the backfield. It's amazing how much they're relying on this kid. It's awesome to see. He's someone that I was able to get in one dynasty league. I had him in both dynasty leagues because I knew that they were trying to trade Fournette, and I did a little bit of research about him. But frickin' Shady McCoy signs with the frickin' Buccaneers. Like, oh wow, this is a match made in heaven. I'm gonna drop James Robinson to pick him up. And then the next day, Fournette got cut, and then Alex spent all of his fab on James Robinson, so I did not get James Robinson back in that league. So I only have him in one league, and I'm 11-2 in that league. If I had him in your league, Mike, I think I have 2 or 3 more wins easily. So that's just how impactful James Robinson has been.
Yeah, he's been really good, and I'm excited to see his progression over the next couple of years. Is he going to continue this pace? Is he going to become a superstar back? Is he going to put his name in the same conversation as the Nick Chubbs, the Zeke Elliott's, the Dalvin Cooks? Or is this kind of a flash in the pan season? I'm kind of thinking that the first part of that statement is going to be true, but we'll have to wait and see. Chase, let's move on to our final segment before we hop into predictions. And this would be the NFL hot seat. Of course, coaches are always on the hot seat, but we're going to play a game. You're the GM. This is your coach. Are they canned after this season, or are you giving them one more year? We'll start off with an obvious one. Adam Gase.
Bye-bye. What else is there to say?
Honestly, I agree. Next up, we got to go with your Jacksonville Jaguars and Doug Marrone. He's had a couple seasons with the Jags and really hasn't been able to make them work out. He had the one successful season where he made it to the playoffs, but they lost to who they lose to?
That was AFC Championship game. Was it the Broncos? Was it that far back?
It might have been the Patriots. Either way, they made it to the AFC Championship game. They beat the Steelers. It was awesome. I love that so much. But other than that, he hasn't really found any success whatsoever. Doug Marrone, you keeping him, or is he gone?
So this is a little tough for me because I do like Doug Marrone. I think he has the ability to be a solid NFL coach. He's not the GM there, which is kind of part of his issue. They recently just fired their general manager. I don't know if they hired a new one or not, what their plan is, but when you're a coach and you're not a GM, you just have to work with the talent that's given to you. You don't get to kind of pick the talent yourself. So he's just been working with, really brutal quarterback situations for years and years and years. And even though I like Gardner and still think he's a competent quarterback, he's had his struggles this year. He's been hurt. Right now they're going with Mike Glennon instead of Gardner Minshew, so that says something in itself. So really, I think he needs at least a season. They're going to get a top quarterback prospect, so let them get the top quarterback prospect. Let them see what they can do with that.
Yeah, for sure. And this is one that I kind of flip-flopped on because obviously you got some really good young players there like Robinson, like Chark, like CJ Henderson, who they drafted this year, who Doug Marrone has been, bringing up with him. They've been pretty solid under Doug Marrone. However, the Dolphins had a much worse season last year, or a much worse team, I should say, but finished with a far better record. And that's because I think Brian Flores is elite. And if you're not an elite coach, I don't really know if you deserve a job, to be honest. Why not take the time and go find that elite coach?
Here, when you say that, so let me say this. There are maybe six, 7 elite coaches in the NFL. An elite coach is super hard to find. And sure, you want to keep trying until you find that coach. I get that. Who those candidates would be out there, and there's obviously there's some clear candidates, and guys like Eric Bieniemy and Robert Saleh. So there's candidates out there for coaches that could be those next true elite guys, and I get possibly wanting to peek over the bush and see if they can find that. But unless they end up with a top 2 pick, I don't know if a top coaching candidate's going to that team. Personally, I don't know. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I understand that. I just think if you add Justin Fields to this team, they're currently 1-11, 1-9. Yeah, 1-11. So if you add Justin Fields to this team, what's their record look like? I don't think they're over 6 wins. So
no, a rookie Justin Fields on this team, I think they could be at 4 or 5 wins.
Yeah. So, and there are those 2 coaches you mentioned, but there's also coaches coming from the college ranks that I think are really talented as well, like Lincoln Riley and some other coaches. But I think Doug Marrone has had his time. I think it's time to move on, especially because if you're from an ownership standpoint and you're looking at the guy and you weren't incredibly impressed with his past tenure, do you want him to then handle your future franchise quarterback if you do get a top 2 pick? Me, I want Zach Taylor gone because I don't want him handling Burrow any longer. So I'd also get rid of Doug Marrone. But Chase, let's now move on to Zach Taylor, as Zach Taylor, another coach on the hot seat. He does not even have a win on the road. His overall record is 4-21-1. Absolutely brutal. I'm ready to get him out of here.
I told you I didn't like the hire in the first place, and you were excited because he worked for McVay. You were hoping that he could come in and take some of those tendencies and really develop it into his own style. But it just flat out hasn't worked. I didn't. I thought the hiring was brutal. I don't like hiring directly from position coaches to the head coach job because it's such a large jump. Even like a coordinator to a head coach is still a large jump, and those are the guys that are most ready for those positions, other than maybe college head coaches. So I did not like the hire. I think he's done an absolutely embarrassing job. Get him out. It's hard. I can't even gonna say this, but like the Marvin Lewis years were significantly better than this. Like Marvin Lewis looks good as a coach compared to Zach Taylor, dude.
Yeah, and I will agree with that, but don't be coming at me because you have blind spots with your Lions as well. Patricia and Caldwell, same boat. I
never liked Caldwell. Kick rocks.
No, but I'm saying Caldwell was better than Patricia, just like how Marvin Lewis was better than Zach Taylor. Yeah. There's always those blind spots. You see the bright, shiny new toy, and you're like, oh, yes, this is it. This is going to be what's going to take us to the promised land, and it's not. Zach Taylor has done a terrible job, and the fact that he's come out and continued to back our offensive line coach Turner and back the offensive line and, talk about, I think they did the best that they could. Like, no, dude, it's time to get rid of the excuses, start, taking some responsibility. You're supposed to be an offensive-minded head coach, and right now, without Joe Burrow, you're averaging 3.0 yards per game. That is terrible. That shouldn't even be offensive coordinator level. So I'm ready to get rid of Zach Taylor. I don't think that Joe Burrow needs another year under Zach Taylor. We saw how good he was. Now imagine if he could bring in a Lincoln Riley or an Eric Bieniemy. Guy could be the best quarterback of all time. I mean, maybe not that, but
no, it might be a little much, but I still think he can be one of the great NFL quarterbacks. Like, he has that in him.
Yep, for sure. All right, Chase, two more coaches I want to talk about quickly. We'll go through Anthony Lynn, as we've talked about him a couple of times, expressed our I don't want to say hatred because we don't have hatred for the guy, but our displeasure in his ability coaching so far.
Holy hell, he is really bad at his job. He just loves pissing away games. He pisses away games worse than Patricia does, I feel like, honestly. And Patricia did a horrible job managing the Lions games. But when you're running the ball, like, you have Justin Herbert. Oh, look at that big 50-yard bomb. I know we talked about this already, but then it's like, oh, no timeouts. We're not going to get one touchdown and tie the game up or win. We got to get two scores. Let's run the ball. Let's keep it, run it to the middle. Let's not stop the clock. And then let's run with 3 seconds left, too. What a freaking idiot. You're embarrassing. Like, Anthony Lynn, your time as an NFL head coach has to be done. If it's not done, the Chargers, you should be ashamed of yourselves. You should the ownership should sell the team, because obviously you don't care about winning at that point. It just really is embarrassing.
Yeah, and I think it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, we talked about how we just really haven't heard much about Anthony Lynn being on the hot seat. Well, this most recent loss, 45-0 against the Patriots, finally put the nail in that coffin, as now Anthony Lynn is on the hot seat everywhere. I don't want to say we were the first to do it, but kind of seems like it, Chase.
We were the first to do it.
Yeah, it's definitely time for Anthony Lynn to go. You can't lose 45-0 to probably the worst Patriots team in the past 2 decades. Like, that's bad.
Yeah, it really is.
All right, last one. Dallas Cowboys, Mike McCarthy. Is he going to be a one and done, or does he deserve some extra time?
That was probably the worst hire this offseason in any position, any coaching or GM job. It made no sense. He's not a good coach. It's just not a fit. Why was he the hire? There was better options out there. He is a very deserving one and done candidate, because he's just not good at his job, just plain and simple.
Yeah, and we saw a one and done with the Browns coach last year. I can't even remember his name. I remember discussing how much I disliked that dude, though.
Freddie Kitchens,
that's it. I think this could be another Freddie Kitchens scenario. However, I am going to give Mike McCarthy one more year. I think he needs to bring in a new defensive coordinator because the defense is absolutely terrible. But I will say that the offense looked pretty immaculate when Dak Prescott was in there. They were in games that they shouldn't have been because of that offense. So if he can bring in a new defensive coordinator, I'll give him one more year. If he's not going to bring in a new DC, then he can pack his bags. So that is it for our hot seat discussion. Chase, we'll now move on to our predictions. And oh boy, terrible week for both you and I this week. 7-7 for me, 6-8 for you. We still have one more game with the Baltimore-Dallas game that's happening later today as we are recording on Tuesday. But absolutely brutal week. I'm ready to move on. Let's just go right into week 14 predictions. First up, the New England Patriots at the LA Rams. Who you taking?
I mean, the Patriots just put up 45 points, but I don't think that's sustainable. Like if you look at the way they did it strictly through running. Cam Newton was irrelevant throwing the ball, as he kind of has been all year. And against the Rams, I just feel like the Rams are going to do enough offensively here where the Patriots kind of have to throw the ball, and it's going to get them caught up behind. So I'm going to go with the Rams.
I will agree with you on that one. We'll now move on to Minnesota at Tampa Bay. Two teams that are, well, Minnesota has recently gotten hot, and then Tampa Bay has been pretty sustainable all season.
Yeah, I think this should actually be a pretty good game. It's one that I look forward to watching more than the others, probably. Not like specifically this one is the number one, but like it's definitely someone I'm going to keep my eye on. I think I'm going to lean the Vikings in this one. It's close. I'm tempted to take the Bucks, but I feel like this has all the potential to be a real Dalvin Cook game.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. I'm taking Minnesota also. And I've got my predictions already written down, so don't think that I'm copying you because I would never. I mean, just look at your record. Why would I do that?
It's because I like to get spicy, and you just pick the vanilla.
Oh, okay. You like to get spicy. That's right. Forgot. My bad. All right, moving on. Arizona at the New York Giants. Are the Giants going to continue this little hot streak, or is Arizona going to end it?
See, I really don't know what to say because if the Giants offense does good enough, like they're going to be able to score in the Cardinals defense, and if the defense plays like that against the Seahawks, Cardinals ain't going to be able to do shit. I just, man, I think it's too hard for me not to choose the Cardinals, so I think I'm going to go with the Cardinals. Kyler Murray, he should be able to have a very nice day. But I think this game's going to end up being closer than we want it to be.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going all in on those top two NFC East teams this week. Big fan of what they did this past week. I'm really hoping we can see that again. If not, then it really won't be like disappointing. It'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a team that I thought they were. But I'm taking the Giants this week, and sneak peek, I'm also taking the football team. But moving on, Kansas City at Miami. Looks like Tua will be playing this game. I mean, you never really know because it seems like for the past 3 weeks it was like, is Tua going to play? I'm not really sure. But Tua versus Mahomes, who you taking?
So I'm going to go with Mahomes and the Chiefs in this one. Honestly, if Fitz were playing this game, I probably would take the Dolphins. I truly think that right now the Dolphins' best chance to win is with Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. So if Tua goes in, I think that lowers their chances. At the same time, it's going to, like, with Tua being in, lowers their chances of getting absolutely destroyed because Fitzpatrick's such a boomer bust type of quarterback. But, against the Chiefs, they're such a good team, you kind of need that boom ability. So I don't want to make the stipulation if Fitzpatrick plays, blah, blah, blah. I'll just go with flat out the Chiefs are going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs as well. I feel like this one, maybe not the easiest matchup to predict, but a matchup that I feel pretty confident in choosing. Miami has looked good, but they're not on the level of the Chiefs as of yet. Next up, Tennessee at Jacksonville. Are your Jaguars going to be able to take down the Titans, or is this a Titan win?
This is a Derrick Henry win because Derrick Henry will not have two bad back-to-back games in the month of December. Derrick Henry might run for 700 yards.
That would be interesting.
I obviously that's an exaggeration, but I like 200 yards. I really don't think is out of the question because Derrick Henry he doesn't do that in the month of December. He does not have two bad games. He rarely has any bad games. So he's gonna be pissed off from last week. They ended up losing. They're gonna go and just destroy these Jags.
All right, up next we have Dallas at Cincinnati. Andy Dalton's revenge game against the Cincinnati Bengals. He's going back home to Paul Brown Stadium. Who are you taking?
This might be the ugliest matchup I've ever heard of in my life. If Joe Burrow was in the lineup, if Dak Prescott was in the lineup, this would be an entertaining game, but they're just not. Zeke has been horrible. I don't even know what Mixon's up to right now. Is Mixon even playing yet?
No, he's still on the IR.
Yeah, so like...
And then Gio got injured too. Samaje Perine was our starter.
Yeah, so like this game is going to be just flat out ugly. I mean... I guess I'm going to go with the Cowboys. It doesn't feel good choosing either team in this. Can both of them lose?
Yeah, I really hope my prediction doesn't happen, but I'm actually taking the Bengals. I think the Bengals defense looked pretty damn good against the Dolphins this past week, and I think the Dolphins offense right now is far better than the Cowboys offense under Andy Dalton. So I'm going to take the Bengals. However, I'm kind of hoping they do lose because I want to cement a top 3 pick and get Penny Sewell. But moving on, Houston at Chicago. Houston absolutely obliterated Detroit on Thanksgiving Day, and then Detroit just had a huge comeback win against Chicago. So does this mean Houston beats Chicago?
Yes, it actually does because Chicago's just going to probably lose out the rest of the season because they look absolutely horrible. They've gotten really nothing going for them. In Houston, I mean, Deshaun Watson's been playing great since the coaching change. Even though the wide receiver core is heavily depleted with the Will Fuller suspension, the Randall Cobb injury, they've still been able to get it done. So I think the Texans are going to squeak out a win. Before we move on, though, quick breaking news. Michigan, Ohio State officially canceled.
Wow, so surprised. I was doing a group project previewing, or a partner project, I guess I'll say, previewing Michigan State basketball this year, and we talked about, will Michigan, Ohio State happen? And we're both like, no, and we came to the conclusion that if you can't beat them, might as well cancel the game, right?
Yep, pretty much.
All right, Chase, let's now move on to Denver at Carolina. Go ahead. Give a victory to my love, Matt Rule.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm not choosing the Broncos the rest of the year.
Yeah, this is that's a team that's pretty ugly right now. Seattle at the New York Jets. Seattle just dropped a game against the Giants, and the New York Jets almost upset Los... Oh.
No. I'm not letting you finish that. The Seahawks are winning this game. That's not, both those things are not happening again.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, Las Vegas. They were the ones that almost got upset by the Jets. They play the Indianapolis Colts this week at home. Who do you got?
See, dude, I really like the Raiders this year. I really had a lot of faith in them based on how they started, but this defense is just not okay. No Josh Jacobs is also a bit of an issue. And this Colts defense, even though I don't like the offense and Phillip Rivers is dealing with some sort of injury, Jonathan Taylor, he finally, is showing this ability that we saw in college. He's looking a little bit better, and this is another great opportunity for him. So I think that the Colts are going to be able to kind of run wild on the Raiders, and I don't think it's going to be a very low-scoring game, so I should rephrase that. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. I think neither defense is going to do that great. Colts defense is going to do better just because it is better. But I think this could be well in the 50s or 60s total points.
Interesting. I'm going to take the Colts as well. I think the Colts have a dynamic run game right now with Nyheim Hines, Jordan Wilkins, and Jonathan Taylor. It seems like all three of them are really clicking right now. And then I'm a big fan of their defense. This Colts team really reminds me of a classic Big Ten football team. So I'm going to take the Colts over Vegas, and I'm in the same boat. I loved Vegas, but for some reason, they just seem to be getting worse, and that's not good for when you're coming to the end of the season. Next up, Washington at San Francisco. I already spoiled this one earlier. I'm taking the football team. Tough choice because San Francisco, a solid team. They're always going to give you a fit no matter how many injuries they have, but I'm taking Washington.
Yeah. Before I make the decision, another breaking news. As I said earlier, I think Jalen Hurts can start next week. It's official. Jalen Hurts is starting next week. So, just want to throw that in real quick, just so you knew the situation. I actually been choose Washington as well. They are surging in the right direction, and I actually like their roster compared to the Giants right now with all the injuries the Giants have. It's not as appealing to me as it was before the season. So the Washington football team, in comparison to the 49ers, like Washington, like in terms of healthy players, just might have a better defense, and which is shocking to say based on the 49ers last year, how good they were, but they have all the injuries, which sucks. And that offense it's just not able to get it done. Where Washington's can get it done just enough where it's not really going to matter. It's going to be another lower scoring type of game like it was against the Steelers, but I think Washington comes out with it.
Yeah, and I do like this Washington football team roster as well. I honestly think that they're a really good quarterback away from being the best NFC East team year in and year out. And I thought there was a good chance of them getting that this year. I thought there was a possibility that this team would be the worst. I think I had the Jags as the worst team overall. But the football team, if they could have got like Justin Fields, that could have been huge for them. However, Alex Smith has stepped in and he's looked good. I mean, he's not going to be the future. I think he's like 36 or 37. Again, you don't really know how great his leg's going to continue to hold up. But yeah, this Washington team, I'm liking them right now. I'm predicting they're in the playoffs. I like them better than the Giants right now, and I think you said the same. So next up.
But really quick before we move on, I do think they're drafting a quarterback this year. If I really hope JT Daniels enters the draft because I want the Lions to draft a quarterback as well. So that'll mean Trevor Lawrence to the Jets. Excuse me. Justin Fields to the Jags, and then that leaves the guys in the realm of Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, and JT Daniels to go elsewhere. And those are three quarterbacks that I would love for either Washington or Detroit to have. So I think both these teams are going to draft quarterbacks, and if that happens, especially if those three guys are in, I could be really excited for both these teams going forward.
Yeah, could be possible for sure. And don't be sleeping on Mac Jones. He's been phenomenal this year. I'm not sure how I see him overall as a quarterback as of right now. We'll get those rankings to you guys later on once the season starts to wind down. But he's been great this year. All right, next up, New Orleans at Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts starting, like you mentioned just a couple minutes ago. Does that change your prediction to Philly?
Nope, because Miles Sanders is the only chance they'd have to win, and he has looked bad. And he's going to look even worse against the Saints.
Yep, I am going to agree with that. New Orleans on top. Atlanta at the LA Chargers. One coach, Dan Quinn, already got fired, where there's another coach on the other side that's looking like he's going to be fired at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, the Falcons have looked better, with the change of guard. And they've put up some pretty impressive games. I think I'm going to go with the Falcons in this one. I think Herbert has the ability to have a nice game here. But I think Matt Ryan just going to be able to do too much through the air. Good games for Julio and Calvin Ridley coming up.
Yeah, I'm going to agree there. And I was looking at last week's predictions. We took Atlanta over New Orleans, both of us. Why?
Yeah. I mean, Taysom Hill at quarterback, and I was just liking the trend that, or how the Falcons were trending. We both thought, this could be a bit of a spooky upset, but it's really within the realm of possibility, and that just didn't happen.
Yeah. I just, looking back now, I'm like, why did I do that? Like, New Orleans is so obviously the better team.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. You know what's crazy, though? The last 2 years, the Saints have not lost a game without Drew Brees at quarterback. They're undefeated with a different quarterback.
Well, they have elite quarterbacks, Teddy Bridgewater, Taysom Hill. Jameis hasn't gotten a start yet, which is unfortunate. I think he should. But, yeah, I mean, come on. We all heard that Taysom Hill was elite and Teddy Bridgewater's a starter now. So
it's wild.
All right, next game, Green Bay at Detroit. Is Darrell Bevell gonna get his second win in his career and cement himself as the future head coach of the Detroit Lions?
No, but I'm going to get my first playoff win in your fantasy league because Devontae Adams is catching at least 2 touchdowns in this game.
Well, and because Aaron Rodgers, you have him as well. thanks to
Oh
me.
yeah, so obviously, yeah, appreciate that. So obviously, it's gonna be the passing touchdowns there. That's a great like quarterback wide receiver duo to have. Aaron Rodgers and Vontae Adams. It's probably the best duo in fantasy football this year. I would have to say, if you get it like between like the same team quarterback and receiver, I have a hard time believing somebody else has that. But yeah, I think the Packers are gonna be able to put up quite a few points on the Lions, and the Lions, they looked good last week. It was nice to see, but it's just not gonna keep up against a team like the Packers.
Yeah, for sure. And the last time I checked out your matchup and John Dahl's matchup, John Dahl was projected to win, which would throw a 4-way tie into the conversation for the worst team in our fantasy league. And which team would be punished? We don't really know. Well, then I looked last night and saw that Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and Jonathan Taylor all combined for like 80 points, I think. So I was like,
Something like that.
Okay, so never mind. John Dahl is going to be the worst team. He's going to be serving us drinks on draft day.
Dude, and I know different league. I just do want to talk about it real quick. Like, as good as it feels to put up as many points as I did in Johnny's league, it kind of angers me that it was against Graham. I was guaranteed to win. I could have played my worst healthy players on my bench, and I still would have beat Graham. I mean, my best healthy players on my bench would have beat every other team in the same league without me starting a quarterback. It was just an all-time fantasy week. It kind of sucks putting up those numbers in a matchup where it just truly did not matter at all. But yeah, it's still cool to see.
Yeah, and now you're going to lose round one, which, super unfortunate.
Can't lose round one, got to buy.
Oh, true. All right, you're going to lose round two.
Frick off.
All right, let's move on. I took Green Bay in that one as well. Moving on, Pittsburgh at Buffalo. This is your Sunday night game. I think this one's going to be an awesome game. I can't wait to watch this. And I am going to take Buffalo because Pittsburgh, like I said earlier on in the episode, they've not had very good wins at all.
I mean, I'm taking Buffalo in this game too. How can I not? I love the Bills. I love Josh Allen. I've been saying it. This is going to be his year, and he's looked great the first 4 weeks. Slowed down a little bit, but he's picked it right back up. Just left off, or picked up right where he left off. I should say he is really a true elite quarterback in the NFL now, and he's really showing it. Obviously, he's not going to keep getting better every single year, but it'll get to a point where he's going to get better for at least a couple more seasons. He's going to figure out his decision making and get some better weapons too, because he has good weapons, they're not great weapons. Once they get like a real running game out of the running backs, like that Bills offense, combined with that Bills defense, might be an unstoppable type of team.
Yep, absolutely. And then finally, the Monday night game, another game that I think could be really good depending on what Ravens team shows up and what Cleveland team shows up. But like I was saying, Ravens, Browns, who you got?
I am going to go with the Cleveland Browns in this matchup. I think this will be just a collective, really good game for the Browns. I think the offense is going to click through the air and on the ground. I think the defense is going to do a good job suppressing the run, not be able to completely stop it. Against the Ravens, it's hard to do, but they're going to suppress it, force them to throw the ball. And let's be honest, Lamar Jackson throwing the ball this year, he's just not been it. It's crazy. He had that just crazy, unreal year. It's like the Peyton Hillis of quarterbacks, just this fullback Peyton Hillis comes out, has this crazy season, gets on the Madden cover, and then nothing ever again after that. Lamar Jackson, I wouldn't say he's going to just do nothing the rest of his career, because you still see he has that ability, but he just hasn't been able to figure it all out this year. And so, with that being said, Cleveland win.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take Cleveland here too. I'm very interested to see how this works because they have Dallas tonight. Baltimore has Dallas tonight. But this seems like a really demoralized Baltimore team right now. They started 5-1. They're now 6-5. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. Lamar, obviously, he missed, I think only 1 game with being on the COVID list. But yeah, I'm very, very excited to see what type of game we get because I think it could be the best game of the week with just how ground and pound both teams are. But at the same time, I could see Cleveland running away with it. So I'm very excited for it. I'm going to take Cleveland as well. It's going to be an exciting game. And then Sunday night, another exciting game. And we even talked about it. Minnesota at Tampa Bay in that 1 o'clock time slot. That's going to be awesome too. So a lot of really good games coming up this week. Chase, let's see how many differences we have. two. We've got two differences. The New York Giants and the
Damn.
Arizona Cardinals, and then the Cincinnati Bengals and the Dallas Cowboys. Those are our only differences right now. But a lot of good games. I'm excited. How about you?
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I wish we had a little more differences, like maybe 3 or 4 total. I like that number of differences because it really leaves anything up for possibility. Having like anything 5 or more is just kind of unrealistic to hope for. But regardless, there's still enough for us to kind of root against each other a little bit and still watch some good football.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are playing first round of playoffs this week in my league, aren't you?
I am.
I think I have Johnny's pick in that league. So I guess best of luck to you because I don't need to root against you in that league. However, in Johnny's league, I do have to root against you because I have your pick. But in my league,
Hey, I'll pay your buy-in next year, maybe, probably not. If I win, how's that sound?
pay $10 on my buy-in, so I only have to put in 15, and I'll root for you.
All right, fine, that works for me.
All right, perfect. We got it on the pod, so we all know.
I need that mojo.
Johnny's league, I'm out of it, even though my team was disgusting. I'm not sure how I did so poorly. And then,
dude, I just gotta say, it's been a really rough fantasy year for you. Are you making the playoffs in any league?
there's a possibility to do it in my league.
Is that it though?
No, I can get it in my cousin's league too, which you are not in. But yeah, it's been such a bad year.
Where opposite for me, I have officially made it in every single week.
There you go. Congrats.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm very, very excited, very honored.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Chase. Well, we got to get out of here because we have an interview in the next couple of minutes here for the Bolts broadcast next Thursday episode. Another juicy interview you guys are going to want to check out. Again, this week we had Mike Doc Emmerich on, so if you want to check that out, please do so. On Twitter, we are at Bolts Broadcast. You can check us out there. But for this show, that is going to be it. I want to thank you guys for coming out, giving us a listen. If you are on YouTube, if you could give us a like, shoot us a comment, let us know your thoughts on this episode, as well as hit that subscribe button. Make sure to ring that bell as well. It'll let you know when all of our new episodes come out. If you want to stay up to date with what we do, you can follow us on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. That's again on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. Also, the Facebook and Instagram links will be in the description of the YouTube video, as well as the podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. Thanks so much for coming out, guys. We really appreciate it. And as always, we're not professionals.